Okay, so let's start our today's session, guys. So let me share my screen quickly. So we'll first recap what we have discussed. Okay, hope you're able to see my screen.
Yeah, Venkat.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so let me start the recording. Okay, fine. So just to give some, quick recap, right? So what we have discussed in our previous sessions. So we started with Python. So this course is about uh, Google Cloud Data Engineering, right? So we have to this. I mean, well, I'll give the overview because most of the people joined this class for Python, some joined for PySpark, right? So some joined for data engineering, Google Cloud Data Engineering. So I'll give the complete overview of this course in the coming sessions. But this course has started to proceed for Google Cloud Data Engineering. Okay, so Google Cloud Data Engineering course. So this course includes Python, SQL, and then PySpark. And then we will jump into Google Cloud Computing. So that's where we understand the Google Cloud related services. Okay. So the data engineering part of it will start from PySpark. Okay. So this course is completely for people who interested in Python development. Yes, they can join. Who interested in PySpark development, yes, they also can join. Who interested in to understand the cloud data engineering part of it, so they also can join. So this course is for different people. Okay, so if you want to continue the course, you just from starting to ending, or if you want a particular portion of this course content, just let me know so that I'll have some idea. So who are coming, you know, the entire course, or who are stopping in between, so I can get some idea on that. Okay. So saying that, so we started with Python, right? So last week we started with Python. So yesterday and day before yesterday, I was not able to start the classes because of election and some personal reasons. So from today, our classes will resume again, and we have taken around 3 to 4 classes on Python development, and then today we will see a few more methods or development process in Python, and then we will close today's session. Okay. So, just to have a quick recap, so we have discussed the Python introduction, and then what is Python, how it works, right? So, what are the different features of Python we have discussed, and we have seen where actually we utilize Python in real world, right? So, in IT, so what are the different segments we apply Python technology, right? So we have seen that as well, and then we have seen the internal architecture of Python, how actually the Python code, whatever you have written, how internally it will execute, right? So we have discussed about the internal overview or architecture of the Python as well, and we have seen some installation and setup, how to install Python, how to set up Python, right? So all these things we have seen. So people who joined newly from today, so don't worry. So I will schedule a session in coming weekend. So a 2 hour session. So I'll cover all these concepts for you. Okay, for the people who joined freshly, right? So, and then after that, we have seen, the variables in Python. So what are the variables? How to declare a variable? All these things we have seen, and we have seen print statement, and we have seen standards of declaring variables. All these things, right? And then we have seen some data types in Python. So few data types, few major int, string, all these things we have seen. And then we have seen few string methods. So what are different string functions or string methods that we can apply on top of the string variables, right? So we have seen that as well. So today we're going to see few more string methods, and then we will see Python arithmetic operators. Okay. So that's what our today's agenda is. So we're going to complete these string methods today, and then we will jump into Python arithmetic operators. So what are different arithmetic operators in Python, and how we utilize them in the program, right? So here, this is a IDE platform for the people who joined newly today. So this is the development platform for Python. We call it as PyCharm. So PyCharm is a IDE for Python. So we can use multiple different IDEs based on the project requirements. It may be VS Code also in few cases. But here, this PyCharm is an open source IDE platform. So that is why we are using it. Okay. So going forward, so on Friday, we have seen different string methods. So we have seen split on top of a string variable, how a split function will work, right? We have seen format. So how format will work on top of using these different string variables. This concept also called as string interpolation. So formatting your strings, right, according to the requirement. And we have seen join function, how to join multiple string variables into one, right, with a delimiter. So we have seen the join function as well. And we have seen the count function, right? So till here we have seen on Friday. And today we're going to start from starts with function. Okay. So this starts with is very, very important function, right? So in real time, we most of the times we use this starts with function. So I'll give you one use case where actually this starts with function will be utilized in real time, right? So let us take an example. You have a directory. In that directory, you have 100 different files. Okay. And you got a business requirement saying that, hey, this is the directory. Under this directory, you have 100 different files that got placed. These are all raw files. Okay. Now you write a Python program to process the files that are in this directory, which are starting with, let us take an example, EMP. Okay. So then what you need to do, you need to list that directory first, and then you need to iterate file by file, and then check whether this file name is starting with some string or not, right? So in that kind of scenarios, this starts with the function will help you a lot. Let us take an example here. I have a file name, which is actually emp underscore 20240510.csv. This is the file name. Okay. And I stored this in a variable. Okay. And you can apply this starts with the function on top of this string variable directly. Okay. So here what I'm doing, this string dot starts with the such string. Okay. So whether your string variable is starting with the given substring or not. Okay. So this is the condition it will check. Now what it will return, right? So it will return the Boolean value, whether it's a true or false, right? So you need to understand this very clearly. So this is very, very important. So now your starts with or ends with, these two functions are similar behavior, but the return type of these two functions are a Boolean value, meaning they may return true or false based on the condition that you apply. Okay, so let us take an example. My file name is already starting with emp, and I am printing it. It will return true. Okay. So remember, your Python kernel won't recognize your normal true with small letters. The Boolean value or the Boolean type of your Python kernel is case sensitive. Remember, it is case sensitive. So if you give true or false like this, it won't recognize. Be very clear about. Okay. So now, so what is the actual declaration of your Boolean value? It is like this: true or false. Then only it will recognize. Okay. So that is about the starts with. So it will return the true or false value, and based on this, you can simply, if res, then print. So you can simply return this, condition based control based on your, the Boolean variable. You can control your program flow, right? So whether you want to proceed further with that file or not, so you can simply write a if else loop and then you can proceed. So this if else or loops concept we still did not discuss, but we'll discuss that in coming sessions. But for now, so this starts with is a function which identifies whether your given string variable is starting with the given substring or not. Okay. So any queries till now, any queries or any questions about the class or about the sessions or timings or the course content, any queries for anyone?
No, Ankit, we are good.
Okay. Okay, fine. So let's proceed further. So we'll start with we'll go for ends with function. So this ends with function is, let me check if someone is in the lobby. No. Okay. So this ends with function is also behaves similar to starts with, right? So whether your file or your variable name is ending with given substring or not, right? So it is as simple as that. So when this ends with will be utilized, right, in real time. So we'll take the same example. You have a directory. Under that directory, you have 100 different files that you need to process. Out of 100 different files, you need to process only few based on the extension. Let us take an example. Out of 100 files, I have 10 CSV files, 10 Excel files, 10 text files. Okay. Now you need to process only the CSV files. Okay. So in that scenarios, you can check the extension, right? So .csv is the extension for CSV files. We know that, correct? So in that cases, this ends with function will help you to identify the ending of each file name and then proceed further, right? So this ends with is also being utilized in real-time projects more often, right? Okay, so ends with always checks, and then it also returns a Boolean value, whether the condition is true or not, whether it was able to find your substring at the end of the parent string or not. So that's the condition it's gonna check. And then it will return the Boolean value, okay, whether the condition is true or false. That's it. Okay. Now, the next function that we're going to discuss is alnum, right? So this function is more specifically to identify a string is having alphanumeric characters or not. Okay, so the major functionality of isAlnum function is to identify a particular string holds alphanumeric characters or not, right? So again, it also returns true or false. So let's check this. So I'm taking a string, sample string. Let's say test equals to Venkat 1 2 3 4. So this is my string. Okay. So now you want to check this string is having alphanumeric characters or not, right? So now you can simply isAlnum is you can apply directly that function. You don't need to pass anything in the braces. So when you print it, it will say true. Okay. So this function also will utilize in real time. For example, you have a column which is expecting only the string values, proper string values, but unfortunately, your file, the raw file, is holding some alphanumeric characters, but you don't need those kind of values. So your business asked you to skip those values. So in that case, you need to check whether I have all the strings in my column, or whether I have alphanumeric strings in my column, right? So in that case, this alnum function will help you to segregate between your column records, right? So that is the functionality of isAlnum function. And moving on, so we'll go to strip function. So the strip function is simply like trimming of the spaces for your string. Okay. So now let's take an example. I have a variable. Simply, I'll utilize the test variable only. So here, if you see, I have 1, 2, 3. So before going to strip function, let me give you another function called length. Okay. So length is a function to find out the number of characters that are there in the given string. Okay. So now if you see the result equals to how we will apply the length function, the syntax is this. Okay. It is not like string dot length. So it is simply length of string. Okay. So now print res. So when you do this, what will happen? It will find the length of this particular string. Length meaning how many characters are there in this string. So those that position count it will return. Okay. So now let's print this. So I have 13 characters in my string variable. Okay. So now let's use this strip function along with this length, right? So again, after declaring my test variable, what I am doing is test underscore yes equals to test dot strip. Okay. So now if you see the length of this test underscore yes variable, okay. So previously the length is 13 and we have multiple different spaces for our string. And now I applied a strip function and then I'm printing, I'm finding the length of that stripped variable and I'm printing it. Okay. Now see, you have only 10 positions. Okay. So because the reason is if I print the stripped variable, you won't be able to understand if because the spaces will be covered here in the white space. So you won't be able to understand. So that's why I'm explaining this strip function with length, so that you'll try to get it, right? So this strip will be utilized to reduce the, or to remove the spaces of a particular string, right? See, this is not only the forward spaces, this is also backward spaces. So the strip function will remove your backward and forward spaces. You need to understand that. So if you have, so you can ask me a question, Venkat, where we use all these functions? These all functions will help you in data cleaning. Remember, these all functions will help you in data cleaning, data cleansing, we'll call it as in real time. So if you have some raw data and you want to clean that data, your business is asked you write some program or write some automation to clean or cleanse the data that is coming into the system, then in that cases, these functions will help you. If you opt Python to do that operation, these all functions you can apply and clean the data and then write it to some other place, and you can ask your business to check the cleaned data. So your business don't need to, or your stakeholders or the clients don't need to go and clean the data by themselves. Rather, your automated Python job will do that cleaning, and then it will write the cleaned file to them, so that they will go and check that cleaned file. Okay, so that is the implementation purpose of all these functions, guys. Okay, so now after strip, the next function that we are going to see is zfill. So the zfill is a function to fill zeros. So basically, for example, you have a string variable and you need to append some zeros to that string. Okay, so in that case you can actually utilize this zfill. So let me explain you that. So test underscore variable equals to, okay, just give me a minute. Okay, so this zfill, if you see, I'm just creating a new variable, test underscore zfill equals to test var dot zfill of, let us say I'm giving 5. Okay, so if you can see the definition of this zfill function, add a numeric string with zeros on the left to fill a field of the given width, right? So we'll try to understand what does it actually mean, right? So here, if you see, I have given 5. Okay, so I have given 5. That means on the left side of your string, it will pad zeros. That is what zfill means, zero fill. Okay, so test underscore zfill. No, it is not padding it. So str object cannot be interpreted, and so it will take only the 5 positions. This zfill sometimes works, sometimes just giving error. See. Okay, so it's not actually the error. So it will take the entire positions, meaning, so now let us take an example. I have given 9 number here. So along with the string length, it will calculate the padding positions. So meaning, so here if you see Venkat, so it has already 6 positions. So the remaining 3 positions, it will occupy, and it will fill it as zeros. Okay. So that is what it means. So most of the people will get confused. If I pass any number here, then it will add zeros there. No, it won't behave like that. So here if you see, I'm giving you 5. So then in that case, it did not appended anything in the first case. So it did not appended anything. Okay. So if you give 10, it will work. 1 second. So if you give 10, it will work, because your zfill number always should be greater than your string length. So that is the rule for this zfill to work. So if I give 10, it will append 4 zeros. Okay. So the entire string length plus padding 0. So it will calculate the entire length. The number that you are passing, it should be greater than your string length. So then only it will pad zeros. Okay. Otherwise, it will leave that string as is. Okay. That's about the zfill. And then we will go to index. So this is index function is also very important. So let me declare, I'll use the above variable only, test var. So test var dot index of. Okay. So I'm simply saying E. Okay. So if you see, whatever the character that you passed in the index of function, what your index function is doing, it is going to that particular string and identifying that character index. Okay. And then it is returning. Okay. So you may get a question like, what if I have the same character repeated in 2 indexes? It will identify the first index, then the pointer will get stopped there itself. Okay. So it won't proceed further. So as and when it identifies the first index, then it will return it. Okay. So the index function will return the index of your character. Okay. And it will go and search in the parent string, and then the E found here. So index positions always starts with 0. Remember, index positions always starts with 0. So any programming language, the data interpretation will be calculated based on the index. Okay. So your index positions are like your memory offset values, how actually it stores internally, right? So that index position is always starts with 0. So when you searched for E character index in the parent string, it has returned 1. Although it repeated twice in your string, it has given the first occurrence of that index. Okay, so that is the thing that you need to observe here. Wherever your character is found in the given string at the first time, that index will be returned. So here the number is 1, because the index position always starts with 0. Okay, that is about the index function. Now let's move on to the lower and upper. I think these are very simple, but there are some tweaks we need to understand in this lower and upper functions also. So let us say I have this test var, okay, and so this lower function always lower and upper functions are for case sensitivity. For example, you want to convert your string to uppercase, you want to convert your string to lowercase, then you can utilize these functions. Okay, but what if you have a already lowercase string and you are applying lower function? Will it give error? Let's test it out. Okay, so these are some things that you need to identify. So here, if you see print of test_var dot lower. So I already have a lowercase string and I'm applying lower function on top of the lowercase string. Okay. So now if you see, it won't give any error. It will keep the string as is. Okay. Okay, I have a lowercase string and I am using upper function on top of that lowercase string. So in that case, it will change its case to upper and then it will return. Okay. Now I have uppercase string and I want to see it as a lower. Then, sorry, 1 second. Okay, so it is. So your index function, now we got another example, guys. So here if you see, it has written some error. What is this? Substring not found. So here, one thing that we can understand from this error is your index function takes character in a case sensitive fashion. Okay, so that means you have given E character here and it is going and searching in the string. It was not able to find that lower type E character. That means your index function works with case sensitivity. You need to understand that. Okay, now here I'm using the lower case on the uppercase variable. So it is not even printing, it is giving error in runtime itself. Okay, so here if you see, your uppercase has been converted to lowercase. Okay, again, if you do upper on top of the upper, it won't throw any error. It will keep the string as is. Okay, so that is about the length function we have already seen. So these are different functions, guys. So any questions, any queries on these string functions? If not, we'll move to arithmetic operators.
I had him though.
Yeah, Pablo.
In gfill, string name should be only in numeric characters, means it will return word value.
String name is in numeric characters. Okay, so
along with the name.
Okay, so let us say I have a gfill, and let us say I have. This is what you mean to say.
Repeated values.
Repeated values. Gfill doesn't care about repeated or anything. So let us take an example. This is your string. It will simply append zeros. That's it. See. Just appends zeros. It doesn't care what is there inside the string, and it cares about the length of the string. Okay, out of 1000, it will minus your string length, and then it will add the remaining length to 0. So whatever the gfill of number you're passing, it should be the total length of your string. Okay, including zeros.
Okay.
Yeah. Any questions? Any queries?
Yeah, hi Venkat.
Yes.
Venkat, this is about a strip function.
Yeah.
So if you want to trim the spaces in between alphanumeric values, will that work?
In between, no, it won't work. So your strip function always search for forward and backward.
Okay.
That's it. So
In between, it will not, right?
it won't. It won't. Any questions?
Venkat, we are running the so we have written the multiple methods here, right?
Yes, yes.
So when we are running, then we have to select the particular method and we have to run it, right? So at a time we can't run multiple times, multiple methods.
I mean, it depends on you. I mean, for example, you apply all the methods and assign it to different variables and then print all the variables at a time. Yes, you can do.
Okay.
But you cannot apply all the functions at a time on a single string. For example, I have a string variable and I want to apply all the functions at once. No, it is not possible, right? At a point of time, you have to check only one condition.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Any other questions? Okay. If not, let's move on to arithmetic operators. Okay. So in Python, we have different arithmetic operators also. It supports arithmetic operators like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, right? Modulus. So all these are different arithmetic operators. It will support, right? So here, if you see, I have declared two variables. Okay. Variable A holds the value of 10 and then variable B holds a value 20. Now I'm declaring another variable sum equals to A plus B. Okay, so it sums up A and B and then it will store that in the sum variable and then subtract B minus A. So 20 minus 10 and then it will return subtract result. Okay, multiplication. So plus minus you can utilize as you have. So hyphen is the keyword symbol that we use for subtraction. And for multiplication, we don't have any cross into symbol, right? So that's why most of the programming languages will utilize star as multiplication symbol. Okay. And you can utilize forward slash for division operator, and then percentile operator for modulus of functionality. Okay, so these are some different arithmetic operators that we use on a regular basis. So plus, minus, and then star for multiplication, forward slash for division, percentile for modulus functionality. Now, if you see the print statement, so here, so you'll get all the results. So let's understand. So your sum always returns the integer. Okay. So your sum always returns the integer, and then your subtract also returns the integer, and then your multiplication is also returning the integer. But if you see, the division operator is returning the float type value. Okay. So because you don't know whether your division will be will not be always zero, right? So sometimes it satisfies the division or sometimes it won't. So that time you need the floating. So that's the reason your division operator is always returning the floating point values. And then modulus functionality, the remainder always, I mean, if 20 by 10, it's the remainder is always 0. So that's the reason it is 0. So your modulus also, it is it is returning the integer value. So this is about the formal behavior of all these arithmetic operators. We are very well aware of it. But what about the cross functionality? Now let us take an example. I have I used plus before also in the string concatenation, right? So how it works if it is with cross data types. So this is this a plus minus divided by modulus. We know how it works with if it is integer type values, then we can straight away apply. But in real time projects, sometimes the variable we don't expect it to be integer, but unfortunately we got some string values into it, and you applied some aggregation or multiplication or some logic on top of the string variables. So how it behaves. So that is the negative case that we need to know, right? So here if you see, I have a variable called sum, and my a variable is of integer type, and I am trying to sum up with my string variable. So anybody guess what it returns?
Number and Venkat.
I think it will throw an error.
Okay.
It will show an error.
Okay. Any other answers?
Error it will throw, I think.
Okay. Let's see how actually it behaves. So here the thing is, you're trying to apply a plus operator between two different data type variables. Okay. So always it throws error. Unsupported operand type for plus, right? Int and string. You are trying to sum int and string variables. So it is not possible for me. Okay, that's what your Python is saying. Okay. But if it is of same type, okay, if it is of same type, yes, I'll do sum. Sum meaning if it is a string type variable, if both are string type variables, then it will try to concatenate. That means it will club the two strings. If it is integer type, if both the variables are integer type, then it will try to sum. Okay, so that is the difference, guys. So when we use plus with string formatted variables, we call it as string concatenation. Okay, the concept we'll call it as string concatenation. So it will join all the strings and then it will try to return. But when you do it with integer values, then we'll call it as sum operator. Okay, but if you try to do sum operator between integer and string, it will return the error. Everybody clear, guys?
Yes, clear.
Okay, great. So now let us understand how our multiplication operator is behaving with string type. So we know multiplication operator will be utilized to multiply the values. Here we applied on 10 and 20 now, and we got 200. Yes, we know how multiplication works. We are very well aware of it. Yes, but how your multiplication operator is trying to behave with a string and integer values. Your plus operator or your sum operator has written error for integer and string type, but how actually your multiplication operator will return? Let us see. Let us test it. Any guesses, guys? So my example is here. So test RES equals to 2 into Venkat. Okay, so this is my example. So guess how actually this multiplication operator will work.
Error.
Error.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other answers? Come on, guys, speak up.
It will show an error.
It will throw an error. Okay. Any other answers?
It will print 2 times haircut, I guess.
Sorry, come again.
It will print 2 times haircut.
Yes, correct. So understanding your Python kernel is very, very important, guys. So it is not like for plus symbol, it has given error. For multiplication operator also, it will give error. No. So it has its own way of behavior and functionality. So if you use a multiplication operator between integer and string, it will take it as, you're asking it to concatenate or to repeat this string 2 times or 3 times or n number of times, whatever the number that you pass, right? So here, that is how actually it behaves. Okay. So all of you clear how your multiplication operator is working? Now we'll see another case. This is error, right? Unlike your plus operator or unlike your sum operator, you cannot apply this multiplication operator between the string values, remember. So your sum operator can understand, okay, so I need to concatenate these two strings, but there is no significance for your multiplication operator if you are applying it between the two string values, remember. Okay, clear? If you apply it between the two integer values, yes, it will obviously return good result. If you apply it between integer and string value, it will return the result. But if you try to apply between two string values, it will throw the error. Clear, guys?
Clear. Okay.
Okay. Fine. Let's look at the division operator. Right. So these are very minimum basics, guys. So you when you are programming, most of the times these are few errors we'll face. So unfortunately, I mean, sometimes we forget to do casting, right? Type casting. Sometimes unwantedly some data will come to variables from the file. Okay, you did not apply any kind of casting. So in that cases, this behavior is very, very important to understand your program results. Otherwise, it will become complex for you to identify where the problem is. Okay. Fine. So let's move on to the division operator. Right. So now, again, any guesses? So I have 10. So what it returns?
Error.
Yeah. It will
Okay.
throw error.
Okay. So this is how. So you cannot apply your division operator between one integer and one string value. Okay. So you also cannot apply this division operator between the two string values, remember. Okay. So similar thing, a similar case with modulus operator also. Okay. So these are different arithmetic operators with negative behavior as well. Okay. So not only the normal behavior of your arithmetic operators, the negative behavior is also very, very important to understand your kernel functionality or kernel behavior when we apply it with negative values, right? So and with subtraction, right? So what if I have if I do b minus a, so 20 minus 10, yes, I know 10. So whether my Python, my subtraction operator will support minus values also, let's see that. So what if I do a minus b? Okay, so yes, your Python subtraction also supports your minus values. Okay, so now I just need to understand what is the type of my subtract variable. Okay, so type function, I told you in data types, guys, please try to recollect. Okay, so even if it is a minus value, your Python is treating it as integer. Okay, so try to understand it. Okay, and yes, so that's all I have for today. So string methods we have completed. We have completed different string methods, and then we have completed all the arithmetic operators that we have in Python. Okay, so the next concept that we're gonna see is loops, Python loops. So we'll be seeing if else, elif, for, while, all these loops, and we'll be working with different examples on the loops. Okay, from tomorrow. So that is the agenda for tomorrow, and then we will see the file handling, how we read a file in Python, how we write a file in Python. Those two things. These are two things we will see in tomorrow's class. Okay. Any queries or any questions?
No, okay.
Okay, so that's all I have for today. Please start practicing, guys. So if you don't practice, these all things will looks like, oh, this is pretty simple. But actually, when I have given you some use case, if you are not practiced enough, then you don't recollect. You won't be able to recollect these functions. Okay, so that is something that you need to understand. So try all these examples in your local system. Set up the environment, right, using your in your local system, so that it will help you in reminding these functions. Okay, so that's all I have for today, guys. Thank you so much for joining once again after 24 hours. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Angad.
Thank you, Venkat.
Thank you.